At 2:14 a.m., the basement camera flickered back on, and the janitor was standing in a hallway that doesn't exist on the building's blueprints. I thought it was a glitch until I found the door myself. My name is Daniel Hayes, and for 3 years I worked overnight security at a corporate high-rise in Charlotte, North Carolina. During the day, it was all glass and prestige, attorneys, consultants, clean suits, and keycards. But after midnight, the place felt hollow. 40 floors of silence, HVAC systems humming like distant machinery in a submarine. Most nights I was alone, except for Arthur Klein. Arthur was the overnight janitor, late 50s. Thinning gray hair, stooped shoulders, movements so quiet they bordered on unnatural. He never startled anyone because he never made noise, he simply appeared. From the beginning, something about him unsettled me. He was polite, always nodded, always said, "Evening, Daniel." But sometimes I'd feel eyes on me turn and he'd be at the end of a hallway just watching. The first real moment came on the 16th floor. I was checking offices when I saw him inside one of the dark conference rooms, lights off, staring out at the city skyline. He wasn't cleaning, just standing there. His reflection in the glass looked warped, elongated somehow. "Everything okay, Arthur?" I asked. He didn't turn, didn't respond. After a few seconds, I walked away. That was when the unease stopped being subtle. Over the next few weeks, he was everywhere he wasn't supposed to be. Upper floors not assigned to janitorial rotation. Stairwells nobody used. Standing in hallways like he was waiting for something. And every time I approached, he vanished around a corner. Then the cameras started glitching. One feed, always the same lower-level hallway, would flicker into static. For half a second, Arthur would appear on screen standing perfectly still. Not moving, not cleaning, just staring slightly off camera. Then the feed would cut out. When it came back, the hallway was empty. At first, I blamed old wiring, but then things from my desk started disappearing. A pen, my spare badge, a flashlight battery. They'd reappear in strange places, a locked supply closet, an unused stairwell landing. It wasn't random, it was deliberate. The night everything broke, I saw him again on the basement camera. 2:02 a.m. he was standing near a maintenance room on sublevel 2, an area he had no clearance for. This time, I wasn't watching from a screen. I grabbed my flashlight and went down. The basement air felt colder than usual, the hum of the building louder. Each step echoed against concrete. When I reached the maintenance door, it was slightly open. Arthur was gone. Inside was a clutter of tools and cleaning supplies. But behind a large metal shelving unit, something didn't look right. There was a seam in the wall, a door, half concealed. No handle, just a small keyhole and a rusted plaque. Authorized personnel, only this door wasn't on any blueprint I'd memorized. I should have left, called the police immediately. Instead, I found a key hanging on a pegboard that fit the lock. I turned it. The door creaked open to reveal a narrow stairwell descending into darkness. The air below was colder, damp, and metallic. I went down, I don't know why, maybe pride, maybe denial. At the bottom was another door, older, wooden, splintered. I pushed it open. The room was small, windowless, and filled with things that didn't belong in a corporate building. Boxes of photographs, stacks of old clothing, wallets, watches, personal items, tufts of hair sealed in plastic bags, blood-stained fabric, and bones, human bones. In the center was a rusted cot. On it sat a framed photo of Arthur standing beside a woman and 2 children. The glass was cracked, the children's faces scratched out. The door behind me slammed shut. I spun around. Arthur stood there, silent, calm. He wasn't smiling, that was worse. "You shouldn't have come down here," he said softly. His voice was steady, almost gentle. "What is this?" I demanded. He tilted his head. "This is where I keep what matters." The words didn't sound angry, they sounded proud. Something inside me snapped. I shoved past him. He grabbed at my jacket, fingers digging in, but I broke free and sprinted up the stairs. I could hear him behind me, not running, walking, slow, certain. I burst through the basement door and locked it behind me, called 911 with shaking hands. Police arrived within minutes. They searched the hidden room, collected evidence. The bones were human, multiple victims. Arthur Klein had no criminal record, no active warrants, no known history of violence. But by the time officers swept the building, he was gone, vanished. They believe he'd been using the hidden space for years, possibly decades. The company never admitted knowing about that sublevel. I quit the next morning. It's been 8 months. They still haven't found him. Sometimes late at night, I wake up convinced I hear slow footsteps in a hallway, measured, patient. And what unsettles me most isn't what I found down there. It's the timing. He didn't attack me, didn't rush. He let me find it, like he'd been waiting. Because sometimes I wonder, was the camera glitch a malfunction? Or was it him, making sure I saw? And if he was patient enough to build a hidden world beneath 40 floors of offices, how many other buildings have doors that aren't on the blueprints? And how many night guards are still sitting in quiet security rooms, watching monitors flicker, thinking they're alone? At 12:38 a.m., the warehouse lights went out, and the footsteps that had been following me for weeks stopped pretending to be far away. I thought I was alone on the night shift until something stepped into the aisle. My name is Marcus Reed, and 6 months ago I worked overnight inventory at a distribution warehouse outside Columbus, Ohio. The job was simple: clock in at 10 o'clock p.m., restock shelves, prep shipments, stay out of trouble. The building was enormous concrete floors, steel racks stretching higher than the forklifts could reach. After midnight, it was just me and the echo of my own movement. At first, the noises were small. A faint scrape, metal creaking, a clatter like a box shifting. I blamed rats, old pipes, my imagination. But the sound started repeating, always after midnight, always from the back aisles. One Thursday, I heard something fall behind me while unloading a pallet, a sharp clatter that echoed too cleanly to be random. I grabbed my flashlight and scanned the rows. Nothing. The shelves were undisturbed. The following night, I saw a shadow slip between racks in the far aisle. Not a trick of light, it moved with intention. "Hello," I called. Silence swallowed my voice. I checked the security monitors in the office. Everything looked normal, except one camera in the back flickered. For half a second, a blurred shape crossed the frame. Too tall, too fast. I rewound it 3 times. The blur was still there. That's when I stopped telling myself it was exhaustion. The footsteps started soon after, clear, measured, like someone pacing one aisle over. I'd rush toward the sound, turn the corner, empty. But the echo lingered, almost amused. I started timing it, 12:15 a.m. every night. The same distant pacing. One shift, I was stacking inventory when a crash exploded from the front of the warehouse. A pallet of boxes lay overturned, shoved hard enough to scatter shrink wrap and cardboard everywhere. I ran to the cameras. Static. Every monitor showing the loading dock was pure snow. That had never happened before. The lights flickered. Once, twice, then darkness. Emergency lighting barely kicked on, dim, red, useless. That's when I heard it again. The footsteps. But this time they weren't distant. They were in my aisle, slow, deliberate. I turned, gripping my flashlight like a weapon. At the far end of the row stood a figure, tall, unmoving, its face lost in shadow. I could see the outline of shoulders, arms hanging loosely at its sides. It wasn't rushing, it was watching. "Who's there?" I shouted. No response. The air felt colder. The figure took one step forward. The sound of its foot on concrete echoed too loud in the dark. I stepped back. It stepped forward again, still silent, still faceless. I ran, I didn't think. I bolted through the maze of shelves, my boots slamming against the floor. The footsteps followed, steady, unhurried, but gaining. Every turn I made, I expected to slam into it. The warehouse felt endless, like the aisles were stretching. The emergency exit sign glowed ahead. I smashed the release bar. The door burst open, alarms shrieking. Cold night air hit my face. I stumbled onto the loading dock and spun around. The warehouse entrance was empty. No figure. No movement, just silence. When police arrived, they found nothing. No forced entry, no trespassers. The cameras showed static for exactly 4 minutes. 4 minutes where I can't account for anything. I quit the next morning. Didn't finish my notice. Didn't collect my last check. They replaced me within a week. The warehouse is still operating, still hiring night shift. Sometimes I check the company website. They never mention incidents. But here's what I can't explain. The security logs showed no temperature fluctuation that night, except for one aisle, the one where I saw it. That aisle dropped 10 degrees in less than a minute. And here's the part that keeps me awake. The camera blur I saw weeks before. It wasn't moving between shelves. When I zoomed in one last time before quitting, I realized something. It wasn't walking. It was standing still, and the shelves were moving past it, like it had been there the entire time, watching me work, night after night, waiting for the lights to go out. I don't work nights anymore, but sometimes when I close my eyes, I hear footsteps echoing behind me, measured, patient. And I wonder if I had stayed 1 second longer in that aisle, would it have kept following? Or would it have finally caught up? Because some warehouses don't need employees. They just need someone there to watch back. At 12:07 a.m., I saw someone standing behind me in my computer monitor, and I was the only employee left on the 12th floor. I told myself it was exhaustion until the figure said my name. My name is Lauren Mitchell, and 2 years ago I volunteered for the night shift at our corporate office in Dallas, Texas. It wasn't bravery, it was overtime. We were pushing a major deadline, and someone needed to stay late to monitor reports and update clients overseas. I figured it would be peaceful, a few quiet hours in an empty building. During the day, the office was noise and motion, phones ringing, Slack notifications chiming, coffee cups clinking in the break room. At night, it felt like something else entirely. Rows of cubicles stretched out like an abandoned maze. Emergency lights cast low amber shadows across gray carpet. The hum of the air vents echoed louder than it ever had before. At first, I liked the silence. Then the silence started listening back. The first strange thing was subtle. A rustling sound across the floor, like someone flipping through papers. I looked up, expecting a member of the cleaning crew, but the lights were off in every direction. The sound came again, a chair creaking. I stood up and walked the aisles. Empty, building settling, I whispered to myself. Old buildings make noises. That's what I believed. Until the next night. I came back from grabbing water and found the stack of reports on my desk scattered across the floor, not knocked over, spread out almost arranged, like someone had been reading them. Security confirmed no badge entry since I arrived. I laughed it off, but I locked my cubicle after that. Then the footsteps started, slow, measured, echoing from the hallway outside the cubicle rose, not rushed, not random, deliberate. They moved closer, stopped, right outside my partition wall. "Hello," I called, silence. I stepped into the hallway, empty. The overhead lights hummed steadily. The carpet was undisturbed. I went back to work, but my reflection in the black monitor screen felt wrong, like something darker stood just outside the glow. The shadows came next. always in my peripheral vision. A shape crossing the wall, a figure at the end of a corridor. When I turned, nothing. One night while typing, I saw it clearly, in the reflection of my monitor, behind me, an outline, tall, still, just beyond my desk lamp's reach. I spun around so fast my chair tipped. No one there. I called building security. They checked cameras. No movement, no entry logs. I was alone. That's what they kept saying. After that, the whispers started. Soft, almost breath-like, right at the edge of hearing. Sometimes I thought I heard my name drifting down the hallway. Other times it was just a faint murmur, like someone trying to speak underwater. The worst part, the footsteps stopped outside my cubicle almost every night and didn't move. They just stood there, waiting. Desperate for answers, I asked one of the daytime managers if anything strange had ever happened in the building. He hesitated, then told me about Erin Walsh. 5 years earlier, she had stayed late working on a merger deal. Sometime during the night, she collapsed in her cubicle from a heart condition no one knew she had. No one found her until the next morning. Her coworkers said her eyes were open when they discovered her, staring straight up at the ceiling. Her cubicle, same row as mine, 3 spaces down. I stopped staying in that aisle after that. But it didn't matter, the presence followed. The final night broke me. It was close to midnight. The office lights flickered once, then steadied. The air felt heavy, cold. I stood up and scanned the darkened rows. That's when I heard it clearly, a whisper. Right behind me. Lauren, not imagined, not distant, right at my ear. The lights flickered again, and at the far end of the office, just beyond the emergency lighting, I saw her. A pale figure standing still between 2 cubicles, hair hanging limp, eyes wide, unblinking. She took 1 step forward. No sound, no movement of carpet fibers, just closer. The lights blinked once more, and she was gone. I didn't pack up carefully. I didn't shut down my computer. I ran. Down the hallway, into the elevator, out into the parking garage without looking back. I told my manager the next morning I was done with night shifts. No explanation. He didn't ask. Apparently, I wasn't the first. I work in a different building now. Daylight hours, noise, people. But sometimes when my monitor screen goes dark, I hesitate before turning around. And when the office grows quiet after 5, I still feel it. That presence just beyond the edge of the light. Watching. Waiting. Because here's what I can't shake. Security never found evidence of anyone else in that building. But they also couldn't explain why the temperature logs on the 12th floor dropped 5 degrees every night at exactly 12:07 a.m., the same time I first saw her. And sometimes I wonder if Erin Walsh wasn't haunting the office. Maybe she was warning me, because whatever was standing behind me in that reflection didn't look lost. It looked patient. At 11:58 p.m., I watched a man disappear in my headlights, and 20 minutes later he was standing in the road again, waiting for me. I thought it was just a bad delivery route, until I realized he'd been at every stop. My name is Ethan Cole, and I drive night deliveries for a small courier company outside Indianapolis, Indiana. It's not glamorous, but it pays rent. Most nights are simple pick-up, drop-off, move on. I normally work days, but during the holiday rush I got pushed onto late-night runs. Quiet highways, empty streets, podcasts playing low. I actually liked it, until that route. The industrial park was about an hour west of the city, warehouses, distribution centers, office buildings nobody uses after dark. The kind of place that feels abandoned the second the sun drops. I pulled in just before midnight. Not a single car in the lots, not a single light in the windows. First stop was a small office building. Easy drop-off. I grabbed the package and headed to the front door. That's when I noticed it. The door was cracked open, just slightly. And inside, a fluorescent light flickered weakly like it couldn't decide whether to stay on. The place should have been locked. I hesitated, then decided not to investigate. Not my job. I scanned the package, left it in the drop box, and walked back toward the van. Halfway there, I felt it. That sensation like eyes pressing into the back of your skull. I turned. The door was closed now, completely. No sound of it shutting. No movement, just closed. I told myself it was wind, even though the air was dead still. The second stop was deeper in the park, near a standalone warehouse at the end of a winding service road. No streetlights back there, just my headlights cutting through the dark. As I stepped out of the van, I saw him, standing near the loading dock, completely still, facing away from me, tall, hands at his sides, shoulders rigid. "Hey," I called out. "You with this facility?" No response. Not even a flinch. I took a cautious step forward, and in the blink of an eye he was gone. No footsteps, no door opening, just empty pavement. I didn't wait around. Dropped the package, drove off. But something felt wrong, not random, not accidental, deliberate. My last stop was the worst. An old office building at the far edge of the property line. No signage, windows filthy, looked abandoned. But the address matched. I parked under a dim light and stepped out. The air felt heavier there, colder. As I approached the door, I saw a piece of paper taped to the glass. Written in thick red marker, "Leave. You're not supposed to be here." My pulse spiked. I scanned the lot, empty. No cars, no movement. I set the package down and started walking back to the van. That's when I heard gravel shift behind me. Slow, intentional, I turned. He was there again, standing near the corner of the building. Same posture, same unnatural stillness. He hadn't chased me earlier, hadn't spoken, just waited. I backed toward the van, eyes locked on him. He didn't move until I opened the driver's door. Then he stepped forward, one slow step. I threw myself into the van, locked the doors, and started the engine. And that's when I saw him again. Not at the building, not near the dock, but directly in front of the van, standing in the middle of the road. Impossible distance covered in seconds. I didn't hesitate. I slammed the gas and swerved around him. For a split second, my headlights lit up his face. No expression, no anger, no fear, just blank. When I checked the rearview mirror, the road was empty. I didn't slow down until I hit the highway. Didn't breathe normally until I was 20 miles away. Back at the warehouse, I handed in the keys. The dispatcher looked uneasy. "Everything all right?" he asked. "Has anyone else reported something out there?" I asked instead. He hesitated. "Another driver last week said he felt like someone was watching him. Same area. No description. No report filed. Just a feeling. I haven't gone back since. Called in sick. Twice. Because here's what I can't stop thinking about. That industrial park has security cameras, motion lights, guard patrols. And yet no footage of anyone matching that description was ever logged. But what really keeps me awake is this. Every package I delivered that night. The recipient names were different, but the suite numbers were identical. Suite 117. All 3 stops. And when I checked the route history later, that address doesn't exist in the system anymore. Sometimes I wonder if I wasn't delivering packages at all. Maybe I was being led, stop by stop, deeper into something I wasn't meant to see. And if I hadn't driven around him that last time, would he have moved? Or would I have finally stopped where he wanted me? Because some routes don't show up on GPS, and some deliveries aren't meant to be completed. If this story unsettled you, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you've ever had a delivery, night shift, or road experience that still gives you chills, drop it in the comments. You never know who or what might be reading. Until next time, drive safe. And if you ever see someone standing still in your headlights,